morning. And I'm so happy to be able to speak to the children on Canada West today. I hope you're having a wonderful day and that you are trusting Jesus. I would like to know if you have ever seen an angel. Well, I think I have, but it wasn't what I expected. And I'm not really an expert about angels. I've seen lots of pictures with them having wings and stuff like that. But, I got into a practice of praying every time we go on a little journey. Before we travel, I say, Lord, please send your angels to surround this car and help us to be in your hands and to take care of us. And several times God has miraculously protected us, and I believe that he sent angels to protect us. But one time I was in Papua New Guinea. We were missionaries and our children were small, and we lived on the coast. So we lived by the ocean, and it was a big park called the Huon Gulf that went down the side of Papua New Guinea. And the people in Canada West, had helped us to raise enough money to buy the Jesus film, which tells the story about Jesus. And it was in the Melanesian Pidgin language so that everybody in Papua New Guinea could understand it. And we had some people in our church in our city where we lived, called Lay, who were from a village down the coast called Morabi. And this man, his name was Nori, he said, would you bring the Jesus film to my village of Morabi? There are no roads to get there, and we would have to go in a boat. Well, we had a pretty small boat because we had to go to different areas on the Huon Gulf. And so we said, sure, let's plan to do that. So we made a plan that we could go for a weekend and show the Jesus film. So we gathered up our kids and we got some supplies, and we left early one morning, and we got out on the Huon Gulf, and it was just like glass. There was not a wave in sight. It was just so calm and so beautiful, and the palm trees along the coast were so beautiful. And the kids got up and sat on the bow of the boat, because they were looking for dolphins, because it's always fun to see a school of dolphins. And so they were looking, and I was sitting at the back. And I would like to look out behind, because then you could see in the wake of the boat, you could see the flying fish. And they were so much fun to watch them flying over the wake. And I loved to watch it, and it was so, so beautiful. Well, this gentleman, Nori, who was from Morabi, he was with us. And he was going to be our guide to get to Morabi. Because you see, once we were a little ways out of Lay, our radio didn't have contact anymore. And we just had a very old, it's called a chart, but it's like a map of the ocean. And it kind of showed all the islands, and there were lots of little uninhabited islands that were just beautiful along the way. But around islands, there's often a coral reef. Now, coral is beautiful and there's lots of fish in it, but coral is hard like a rock, and you don't want to get too close to the coral. So as we were traveling down, I was trying to look at that old chart to see where the coral reefs might be. And I noticed that when there was a coral reef, the ocean color changed. It became a really light turquoise instead of the deep blue. And so we could tell, well, Nori directed us, and we kind of went around this set of islands, lots of islands. Nobody lived on them, but there were palm trees and they just looked so beautiful, inviting. But he took us around them on the side, and we kept on going till we finally got to the village of Moraby. And while we were there, we showed the Jesus film, and some people asked Jesus into their hearts. And now there's a church in Moraby. But when it came time to come back home, again, we went out and we got on our boat and we started heading back. And this time, when we got close to the Fly Islands, Nori took us a different route. He took us between some islands. And I was looking at that old chart map and I thought, this looks like there's a coral reef there. So I said to Pastor Bob and Nori, I said, are you sure there's not a coral reef there? And remember, our kids are sitting on the boat looking for dolphins. Well, Nori said, oh, no, just go straight through here. And Bob had it going, Pastor Bob had it going as fast as it could go, because it takes 4 hours at least to get back to Ley from Moraby. So we were just moving through the water, and I kept looking ahead and I kept thinking, that looks like a different color in the water. And I said it again. I said, are you sure, Nori, that there isn't a coral reef up there? Because we were between the islands. And he said, oh no, just go straight. And I kept looking and it kept getting lighter color and lighter color. And then all of a sudden, out of that ocean, right in front of the boat, one dolphin popped up. And the kids went, Dad, stop, a dolphin. And you know, dolphins usually are in a whole school, like a bunch of dolphins. But this was just one. And they were so excited to see this dolphin. And so Pastor Bob pulled back on the acceleration of the boat and made it stop. And when it stopped, there in front of us, literally 5 feet in front of us, was a huge coral wall. And if that dolphin would not have popped up and we would not have stopped, we would have run right into that coral wall. We would have wrecked our boat, and we would have been out in the midst of the ocean with nobody that we could contact because we had no radio contact. Well, we were just shocked. And Nori was like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's been quite a while since I came down here, and I didn't realize that this was where the coral reef was. I'm so sorry. And we just stopped and we thank God that he protected us. And I've always thought that God sent that dolphin as an angel to protect us. You know that the Bible is not really clear about what angels look like. Sometimes we think they all have wings and, you know, they look like, I don't know, cherubs. But, you know, the Bible isn't really clear. But it does say in Hebrews that angels are ministering spirits that are sent to do God's will, and that they're messengers from God. Well, I'll tell you, that dolphin was definitely a messenger from God, and he was the reason that we stopped and our lives were saved that day. And I've always thought that God sent him as an angel. When I prayed and said, God, send your angels to surround this boat as we travel and keep us safe. You know, there's a Bible verse in Psalms that says, for he will give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. That's like even on a boat or in a car. In their hands, They will bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. Or what if it is, lest you dash your boat against a coral reef? Well, I want you to remember that God cares about you and he sends ministering angels to protect you when you ask him to. And he protects those who are serving him, that are doing his will. And I want you to remember to pray for missionaries and ask that God would send his angels to protect them, because they're often in dangerous situations. I hope you have a wonderful week and you think about how God takes care of you.